Saskatoon shelters seeing record use, how the city's homeless are being cared for. Calls for an apology, what a Saskatchewan woman says she was told as she faced treatment for a brain tumor. And a couple of Saskatchewan players return home after representing their country at the World Juniors.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight at the city's newest warming center. Open for just a few weeks, it's already reporting record use. As Carla Shinkerick reports, the demand for services is reflecting a growing homeless population and increasing need for vital services.
The city's newest warming center, which is for women only, is already reporting more visits than originally planned. It's here on Avenue C and is run by the Saskatoon Tribal Council.
We're building that trust. So you see when we started from our emergency wellness center, the trust, right? That's moving forward. So people are starting to come over.
In November, the women's location was here in the old STC bus depot downtown, but then moved over to this site in Riversdale. Arcan tells us they plan for about 100 people here daily, but so far they're seeing a higher demand than expected.
We've seen about 4,030 women since November 7th. Till December 31st. Out of that has been roughly about 550 different women, which is a pretty significant number inside of 2 months.
That increase mirrors usage at the men's warm-up location at St. Mary's Church run by the Salvation Army. Numbers early in the winter are at last year's highest levels.
This year we're peaking at 130 and sometimes dropping down to 110. So we're probably averaging about 120 right now, which is up from last year.
And even with such a high number of people visiting these facilities, the Saskatoon Fire Department tells us that in 2025, there were 1,859 reported encampments and 116 fires in those encampments. That compares to 2024, with only 1,255 encampments and 50 fires. Crews are seeing some encampments used to help keep belongings that aren't allowed in shelters.
Some of them were actually being used for storage, not necessarily living, but when they go and visit their stuff, they might have a fire, and so we're seeing more combustible material.
So despite the challenges, those running the warming stations say there are positive outcomes, with 53 women being given a bed at the Wellness Center in Fairhaven and about a dozen people entering detox this month. Carla Shinkerick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Investigators are looking into the Christmas Day fire that destroyed Prince Albert's Salvation Army as arson. The city's fire department says there were multiple areas where the fire started in the building, which often indicates a fire is deliberately set. The Salvation Army recently moved to a second location following the fire and is operating out of the Union Center, offering people a warm place to stay as well as meal services. The Salvation Army is leasing the building on a month-to-month basis until September. A Saskatoon woman is seeking an apology after she says she was advised by the province to crowdfund for life-saving treatment. Hallie Mandrick on what she says she was told and why it's not acceptable.
After learning that she would have to travel to Edmonton for the treatment of her brain tumor, Tammy O'Brien says she contacted the health minister's office only to be told by a staff member that she should seek the help of a charity.
I've raised 2 kids by myself, put myself at the university, and have worked all my adult life, so it was humiliating. And then at the end of the call, she said, or you could try crowdfunding. And I was shocked. I felt dismissed and degraded.
O'Brien then traveled to Edmonton for gamma knife radiotherapy, which is not available in Saskatchewan. After a flight and staying in outpatient care, O'Brien's travel expenses totaled $854. Being on a fixed income due to her disability, O'Brien once again called the minister's office seeking reimbursement.
I asked her if they could make an exception in my case. I said, I have a rare brain tumor. How often could this possibly happen? And she said, it's not just brain tumors. You'd be surprised how many people are traveling out of province. And I was stunned.
In a statement to CTV, the province said, quote, the cost of the patient's treatment was covered. Saskatchewan Health provides coverage for publicly funded essential medical services, such as hospital and physician visits, even if these are received in another province. The Ministry of Health does not provide coverage or reimbursement for travel, accommodations, and meal expenses incurred while receiving medical treatment outside of the province or country. In the meantime, O'Brien says she will continue advocating for more provincial supports for those who cannot access necessary health care in Saskatchewan.
I hear this daily that people have to deal with this. And not only, a one-shot deal, but some people have to go for weeks or months at a time and stay on their own dime.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
We are learning more about a fatal plane crash near the Saskatchewan-Alberta boundary in 2024. The crash in September 2024 involved a Cessna that left the Kindersley Regional Airport. The flight's mission was to inspect power lines in the Lloydminster area for a forestry consulting company. Investigators say the plane stalled during a turn, which caused it to go into a roll before it crashed. The pilot was killed in the crash. A passenger who was an observer for the flight was also injured and died a few days later. The Transportation Safety Board found that the pilot had all the proper training and had no issues found with the plane. But since the crash, the company that commissioned the flight has brought in higher training requirements for these types of low-level aerial surveys. Crews have begun removing snow from more city roads. Plows and graders are working on priority roads, which includes 8th Street, Idlewild, and Circle Drives. The snow gets removed and hauled to snow storage facilities, a process estimated to take 8 weeks unless there are any more unexpected snowstorms. Doesn't look like any storms are on the horizon, at least anytime soon.
It doesn't look that way at all. And maybe these, I don't know about the grading process, but we've got some really warm temperatures, so I don't know. Maybe that will help in terms of the removal, but we are in for some sloppy conditions when it comes to the roadways and maybe even sidewalks, Chantel, because we are getting into quite a warming situation as we roll into the weekend. But right now, we're dealing with really quiet conditions across the Prairie provinces. I said that yesterday, but it continues, not particularly windy. Temperatures seasonal, at least for the next couple of days, and then things really start to warm up, and we'll talk about that warm up in detail later on.
Calls are growing louder for the province to put a proposed SaskPower rate hike on the back burner. Jacob Carr now on the impact Saskatchewan's ag sector says it will have if it's implemented in the next 2 years.
NDP MLA Alina Young speaking to the media outside SaskPower headquarters in Regina about a provincial government plan that she says will drive up power bills by more than $135 million over the next year.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, 3.9% rate hike this year, 3.9% rate hike next year. This is the crack in the dam. This is the beginning of a wild flood of mismanagement at SaskPower, thanks to the Sask Party.
And the concern regarding the proposed rate hike extends to the province's farming community. Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan District 5 Director Scott Hermes, who farms near Melfort, says the proposed hike would cost him an extra $300 per year on power alone. APAS also wants to know where the SaskPower funds are going.
I've heard 75,000 kilometers of infrastructure rebuilds in the next 15 years. So obviously there's going to be some cost associated with that, but show us, be transparent. Where if it's going into new offices and shops, maybe we should know that.
In a statement to CTV News, the Minister of Crown Investments Corporation said the provincial government has laid out a responsible and detailed plan that will provide huge benefits to Saskatchewan by prioritizing the affordability of our grid while providing energy security for Saskatchewan citizens. But Young says the government has not worked in a cohesive fashion with SaskPower.
This is a government that has starved SaskPower for years of funding. They forced them to become reliant on either rate hikes, a carbon tax, or federal government transfers. That is not proper management of a crown corporation. That's not sustainable.
Adding, the people of Saskatchewan cannot afford another rate hike, while many are already struggling to afford their bills. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatoon property owners have less than 30 days to appeal their property tax assessment. The city began mailing property tax assessment notices on Monday to about 14,000 property owners who had changes to their property tax assessment, tax status, or ownership since the start of the year. Property owners have until February 6th to review and appeal their notice. The city says it receives roughly 800 appeals annually, with more appeals happening in the first year of a 4-year appeal cycle. Cameco is seeing a surge in popularity amid a global nuclear energy revival. Stock prices for the Saskatchewan company have nearly tripled in 10 months. Much of that rise is attributed to the rise of AI and the significant demand for electricity the technology needs. With countries looking for a carbon-friendly way to power AI, traders are finding comfort in Cameco. Analysts here suggest the company's strong leadership, its minority ownership of Westinghouse, and Cameco's supply of uranium in the Athabasca Basin makes it a strong stock in the short and immediate term.
Again, a good time to be part of this operation here in the province, and I look to see positive signs continuing for this industry.
Willoughby says another benefit for Cameco is Canada being seen as a relatively safe trading partner in current global economics. Meanwhile, Cameco's former CEO is among the 3 people with Saskatchewan connections to be appointed to the Order of Canada. Gerald Grandy has been made a member of the Order of Canada. Grandy was appointed president and CEO of Cameco in the early 2000s before he retired in 2011. He was also a longtime resident of Saskatoon until he moved to Denver, Colorado. Grandy joins Saskatoon's Wayne Brownlee and Maple Creek's Michelle Good, which we previously reported in becoming members of the Order of Canada. 2 Prince Albert Raiders returned to Saskatchewan yesterday with some hardware from the World Junior Hockey Championship. John Flatters on what they say about the experience in Minnesota, representing their home country of Czechia.
Returning to the Saskatoon airport on Tuesday with silver medals, Matthias Mann and Mikhail Orszalak feel they've represented their nation well.
After the loss, the final, it was sad, but now, yeah, I'm happy that we finished second and I have silver medal. Yeah, so happy for that.
It's amazing feel because I love my country and for me it's amazing success.
The Czech team had an impressive tournament, Orszalak winning 3 games while Mann had 2 assists and was +1. It all started with a thrilling tournament opener against Canada, where Czechia came up 2 goals short in a 7-5 loss.
First game, I'm a little bit scary because many guys from NHL and it's ending the game 7-5. So.
But like the last 2 years, the Czechs would get another chance at Canada in the semi-final, taking down the junior hockey powerhouses 6-4.
It was probably the best game that I ever played. It was fast, and I played a lot of guys that they were good. A lot of them just playing the NHL.
The second game is better because I trust myself because I know I'm a good goalie and we win the game.
Now they're putting away their silver medals and national team gear while they prepare for the second half of the season with Prince Albert.
We have a great team. Now we have some trades. So I think we have a really good team and we can win the WHL.
We want to win the WHL. So I think that's our goal for the second half of the season.
The Raiders are on home ice this weekend, Friday against Swift Current and Saturday against Edmonton. John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A leadership hopeful for the federal New Democrats is making her way through Saskatchewan this week, looking to win back support for the party. Edmonton Strathcona MP Heather McPherson made a stop in Saskatoon this morning as part of meetings with people who have previously voted for the party but no longer feel represented. McPherson says last fall's election results, where NDP support fell across the country, and in Saskatchewan, where NDP support is typically strong, was a reaction to Trump tariffs. She says she wants to leverage provincial support to win back the prairies.
And so we need to be working with our provincial colleagues. We need to be working with the provincial parties and building off their success. Because, across the country, provincially, New Democrats are doing very, very well, and we need to work with them.
The NDP will select its next leader in March at a Winnipeg convention. There are 5 candidates vying to become leader. Many people who have indulged over the holidays are encouraged to try Dry January. As Mick Favo reports, the challenge has some options if alcohol isn't on your menu.
The Canadian Cancer Society is in the midst of their Alcohol-Free January campaign, a 31-day challenge of no alcohol to begin the new year. They have been tracking the trend of less alcohol consumption, particularly with younger people.
We find that younger generations tend to be consuming alcohol in smaller quantities than previous generations and indulging in less binge drinking. And if these are habits that they carry forward with them into their adult years, these will certainly provide them with positive health outcomes.
Those in the alcohol service industry have taken notice to the direction drinking practices are headed and have embraced the changes. District Brewing Company is a Regina-based beer manufacturer who have their own series of non-alcoholic beverages for those looking to try something new.
It's really expanded. We've seen the market expand to being one of our highest and top selling products, even just as the non-alcoholic space grows outside of January, as people are choosing different alternatives, switching, kind of mixing them in every once in a while.
A dry January may seem like an attack on the alcohol industry, but beer crafters say that is not the case.
We know the benefits of staying healthy, mixing in a non-alcoholic every once in a while and just kind of limiting it to certain access points, but we still love beer, so that's why we're making the best quality, top flavorful non-alcoholic options, because we don't want to miss out on that even when we are going damp.
A major part of the Canadian Cancer Society's campaign is helping the public understand the health risks associated with alcohol consumption, including the links to cancer.
In Canada, there's more than 7,000 cancer diagnoses every single year that are directly attributed to alcohol, and if that doesn't even get into the other negative health outcomes that we often see.
Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan RCMP have released a list of top 10 calls they say missed the mark in 2025.
A frustrated individual called to complain that they were out of toilet paper.
911 call takers sharing some of the most frustrating misuses of the emergency service. Another caller to 911 last year stated they were upset because they had to drive their expensive vehicle through a construction zone. Also among the top 10 list, a person who said the TV show they were watching inadvertently triggered the call. Other callers complained about a shopping cart left in their driveway, food taking too long at a restaurant, and a friend cooking their pork chop without permission. And at number 1, someone called to ask if police could call them because they lost their phone and needed to hear it ring. Despite the humor in this list, RCMP are reminding people 911 is for emergencies only, and misusing the service can prevent someone needing life-saving help from getting it. It can also result in fines up to $2,000. Still to come, the U.S. makes a move on Venezuela's oil. Also, what the Prime Minister has planned during a meeting with China. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. The Trump administration is moving in to control Venezuela's oil supply just days after capturing its leader. Joy Malvin reports on the seizure of 2 tankers in an early morning raid and U.S. plans to sell the commodity.
Dramatic pictures posted by the Trump administration show the U.S. Coast Guard boarding a Russian-flagged oil tanker after chasing it in the North Atlantic for 2 weeks and risking a conflict with the Kremlin. Moscow officials angrily called the U.S. seizure outright piracy. Another vessel captured in the Caribbean, U.S. forces seen rappelling onto the deck of an empty vessel called the Sophia. Both ships accused of violating U.S. sanctions after the Trump administration ordered a blockade of Venezuelan oil, capturing its president Nicolas Maduro in a daring raid, accusing him of operating a narco-terrorist regime.
So our military is prepared to continue this. As he said, the president, when he speaks, he means it. He's not messing around.
It comes as President Donald Trump says he's in charge of Venezuela and will control its oil, posting the country will turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S. The administration claims it has tremendous leverage to force the socialist government to become an ally.
We're going to sell it in the marketplace at market rates, not at the discounts Venezuela was getting. That money will then be handled in such a way that we will control how it is dispersed in a way that benefits the Venezuelan people, not corruption, not the regime.
After a classified briefing, several lawmakers are critical of Trump's attempt to reshape the world order.
This is an insane plan. They are talking about stealing the Venezuelan
oil at gunpoint.
I am totally dissatisfied about their answers of going into other countries.
The Trump administration intends to oversee the sale of Venezuela's oil indefinitely as President Trump plans to meet with major U.S. oil executives Friday about restarting drilling in Venezuela. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
The Trump administration's national security strategy to dominate the Western Hemisphere may include plans to take over the Danish territory of Greenland. After the U.S. attacked Venezuela, Greenlanders no longer consider Trump's words as empty threats. Judy Trinh takes a closer look at what the White House is doing to turn Trump's aims into action.
Greenland's vast expanse contains valuable, untapped natural resources. U.S. President Donald Trump covets the territory in the name of national security.
He views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
The White House has not set a price. It prefers to acquire Greenland through diplomacy, but will not rule out using military force. Greenlanders like Inuit activist Aju Peter fear Trump will attack her birthplace, like he did in Venezuela.
It startled me. Some time ago, I didn't take it seriously, but now seeing what the President of the United States can do, it's a real threat.
The semi-autonomous Danish territory is home to 56,000 people, protected by NATO.
If the Americans attack or try to annex Greenland, Denmark will have to invoke Article 5 in NATO that says that NATO countries have to come and help us against that attack. The Americans would, of course, veto that, and then NATO would be finished.
Greenland shares a border with Canada on Hans Island in the Arctic Ocean. Now both have faced American threats of annexation.
We stand with Denmark. We stand with Greenland. Our closest partnership is with the United States, and we'll work with everybody to make sure that we move forward together.
The Prime Minister says Canadian forces can protect the Arctic from Russian and Chinese threats. What the military alliance can't do is protect member nations from an ally. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to China next week to talk trade and security as both countries look to ease trade tensions. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver looks at this first visit by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly 10 years.
After years of tense relations, a change appears to be brewing as Prime Minister Mark Carney gets set to try and address thorny trade issues in Beijing with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
No doubt there are going to be challenges, and the two countries won't see eye to eye on everything, but there are some common and shared interests.
Next week's visit will be the first by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly a decade, and the first since China arrested and eventually released Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor in retaliation for Canada's detention of Huawei's Meng Wanzhou. One of the biggest flashpoints that's expected to come up, tariffs. Canada imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles in 2024, a move met by China, who implemented a punishing 100% tariff on canola oil and a 25% tariff on certain pork, fish, and seafood products.
We hope that there'd be tariffs, removed immediately. But as I say, this, history has said that the removal of those tariffs does take some time.
But while this three-day trip is being viewed as a relationship reset, experts say Canada has to be cautious not to trigger any alarm bells in Washington, with negotiations on the North American trade deal set to begin later this year.
If we are seen to go too far down the path of befriending China, we know who in Washington is going to be irritated by that.
But while tariffs are expected to loom large, the Prime Minister's office says energy, agriculture, and international security are all up for discussion. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
A woman is dead in Minneapolis after being shot by a U.S. immigration officer. The Department of Homeland Security says immigration and customs enforcement agents were conducting targeted operations when they say violent rioters tried to run over officers in a vehicle. A statement from the department says an ICE officer, fearing for his life and public safety, fired defensive shots, saving his life and other officers. The U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security said everyone in the U.S. should be able to label today's act as wrong saying that the driver was trying to kill an officer and his colleagues. A number of areas in the UK and continental Europe are digging out after a wintry wallop. In Scotland, everyone except emergency workers were urged to stay off the roads as an extreme cold snap continued. Hundreds of drivers were trapped in their cars overnight into today, and remote areas were cut off. The snow and ice also shut down some airports. France, Germany, and the Netherlands are among other countries affected by the weather that also canceled some train service and caused major slowdowns on the roads. Millions of Orthodox Christians around the world are celebrating Christmas today. In Georgia, people marched in a traditional charity procession. Every year on Christmas Day, participants walk through the city collecting donations for orphan children. The event concludes with prayers at a cathedral. The event dates back centuries when worshipers would collect donations for those in need. Processions were also held in other major cities across Georgia today. All right, Jeff, here at home, we are just waiting for that warmth that is coming our way.
Well, it is. We've got seasonal temperatures that we had today. Likely we'll have them tomorrow and the next day. But then, Chantal, really a significant warm-up. Temperatures on the plus side, we've been talking about it for a couple of days, and it looks like it's staying intact, at least in terms of the forecast. We'll talk about that in a bit. Minus 14 degrees right now in Saskatoon, minus 13 in Prince Albert, minus 14 as well in the Battlefords. And as you can say, it's not particularly windy. A little breezier in Saskatoon, but not much wind in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Now on to Saskatoon's Almac. So for today's daytime high, minus 12, as I mentioned, that's seasonal. And the record warm temperature on this date set in 1963, that was 5 degrees. The record cold temperature, a very cold, minus 43 from 1909. The sun came up at 9:14, and it went down at 5:13.
Coming up, a truly Canadian solution, the makeshift machine helping to tend to the ice.
Some of the best curlers in the province are in Melville. Thursday on Your Morning, we are teeing up Playdown Weekend at the Men's and Women's Curling Championships.
All right, lots of curling action going on down there in Melville. Right now, the only action is the action of warming that's coming our way. But a lovely shot of Saskatoon right now through the live lens of Skycam. Let's take a look and see what's going on with the satellite and radar shot here. Well, a lot of still, it's winding down in British Columbia, but still there's some rain off the west coast that extends down to Northern California. But we can tell you that there might be a little bit of precipitation there, but nothing like they had over the last 24 hours. Across the Prairie provinces, quiet conditions. Maybe a little something might brew up in southern areas, but we don't anticipate much in the way of accumulation. And right now, it's just staying that way. So let's take a look at our numbers again, just to recap. Minus 14 in Saskatoon and the Battlefords, minus 13 in Prince Albert. On to our hotspot. Well, that was Coronach. We said it was going to be Coronach. We also said it was going to be 3 degrees, but Coronach hit 4 degrees today, and they are the provincial hotspot. Sandy Bay, Island Falls, minus 26. They are the provincial cold spot. Around the province we go, starting off with the bigger cities, minus 9 in Lloydminster, minus 6 in Swift Current, 0 degrees in Moose Jaw and Estevan, minus 2 in the Queen City, and minus 8 in Yorkton. In central parts of Saskatchewan, temperatures ranging from minus 8 degrees in Rosetown to minus 14 in Melfort and the Battlefords and Saskatoon. As you can see, a lot of places sort of clumped in and around that minus 13 degree mark. Kindersley at minus 9. Up north, minus 14 in Stony Rapids. It warms up to minus 11 in Buffalo Narrows, but it cools off to minus 19, and that is in L'Orange. Down south, we've got ourselves no plus temperatures on the map, but darn close to it in Maple Creek and Coronach and Weyburn, where the temperature is 0 degrees. And on this part of our map, the temperature does drop off to minus 9 in Last Mountain Regional Park. A number of locations in and around that 8 degree minus temperature there. Let's take a look at our futurecast and the computer modeling indicating that, yes, there is a little bit of precipitation sliding into Alberta, but it looks like it's going to wring itself out before it gets into Saskatchewan. So right now, we're not talking about any kind of precipitation of any consequence for Thursday. Minus 12 degrees in L'Orange, minus 23 in Stony Rapids, minus 12 as well in Buffalo Narrows, minus 18 for Key Lake, minus 11 in Meadow Lake, and then minus 9 the expected highs in Spiritwood, Kindersley, and Rosetown under mainly cloudy skies in the southwest as well. 0 in Maple Creek, minus 7 in Leader, minus 9 in Outlook, minus 3 in Swift Current, minus 5 in Estevan, minus 4 in Moose Jaw, minus 7 in Regina, minus 8 in Yorkton, and into east central Saskatchewan, minus 11 degrees for Melfort, Watrous, and Humboldt. A little warmer in Hudson Bay, -8 degrees with mainly cloudy skies. Now on to the Battlefords, dropping down to -22 tonight. There's still a risk of frostbite, and that lingers into the early morning hours, but then that will change as temperatures warm up. So seasonal temperatures are thereabouts for tomorrow and Friday, and then a big jump on Saturday, still on the minus side, but still about 10 degrees above seasonal. And then plus temperatures for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and pretty darn close to that on Wednesday with a high of -1. Prince Albert's overnight temperature, -19 degrees, warming up to -12 on Thursday. And then on Friday, -12 again, but -8 on Saturday, 3 degrees on Sunday and Monday. Tuesday staying on the plus side at 1 degree, and -4 on Wednesday. And for Saskatoon, -18 degrees, the expected overnight temperature with clearing skies, -11 with mainly cloudy conditions for tomorrow. Winds out of the southwest at 20. And then we've got ourselves -12 on Friday, Saturday -5, 2 on Sunday, 3 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and Wednesday -2, which is still about 10 degrees above seasonal. Taylor Swift's latest music is really resonating with her fans. Her song, The Fate of Ophelia, is now her sole longest leading Hot 100 hit. The Fate of Ophelia has officially surpassed her song Antihero off the Midnight's album. The song has topped the Billboard Hot 100 for a 9th straight week. Her next single, by the way, is entitled Hamlet is a Chump. It's true.
That's from Neil Diamond?
Yes.
Thank you, Neil.
Hugh Jackman was just gifted a guitar from Neil Diamond. He said it's one of the most awesome gifts he's ever received. Jackman stars in the film Song Sung Blue alongside Kate Hudson. Based on a documentary from 2008, the Hollywood version follows the true story of a Neil Diamond cover band from Milwaukee called Lightning and Thunder. The board at Warner Brothers Discovery has unanimously rejected a hostile takeover bid by Paramount Skydance, saying the $108 billion offer amounts to a risky, leveraged buyout that investors should reject. The board says the Paramount's financing plan would saddle the company with $87 billion in debt once the acquisition closed, making it the largest leveraged buyout in history. Both Paramount and Netflix have been pursuing the deals to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, with the board's decision meaning a deal with Netflix remains on track. Oh, what a relief.
All right, Jeff, you were out on the basketball court, I heard this morning.
That's right, as you know, working on my jump shot. Are you ready for Brit? I know I am. The 56th edition, I believe. Renvir, as well as Catherine, with us today to talk about Brit. Well, it's a magical tournament. I say magical, but it's got a great legacy. For people who aren't familiar with Brit, what is it?
Well, it's a really big basketball tournament. We get schools from all over the country, sometimes even internationally, to come in and play over the weekend, second weekend in January, and just have a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, a lot of great competition, and you and the Red Hawks are part of that competition. First of all, do you know anything about the other, outside of the city teams that you play against in the regular part of the season? Do you know anything about these other teams that are coming in from out of town?
Not at all. In regular season, all we do is play the teams in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. In regionals, we might play a team from Regina, but out of Saskatchewan, I guess it's our only opportunity to like show our skills.
So for you, do you get a sense of legacy when you play in this tournament as opposed to just playing in the regular season?
Well, yeah, the tournament has like a rich history, and like it's originated from Bedford, so it feels like a responsibility that like we have to showcase our skills, like we have to show that we're here, and we're just excited.
Just before we go, I have to admit, I love the giant panels. They really are a huge part of Brit tradition. And just before we go, Catherine, when does the tournament get underway?
Well, we have two girls' games happening tomorrow on Thursday, 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. 12:30, I think. But you can come at 2:30 to see the actual tournament start and all the boys' games.
All right, so that's Brit, the 56th edition, right here at Bedford Road Collegiate. Thank you both, and good luck in the games.
Yep.
All right, Jeff, time for pick of the day, and it's all about winter today.
It's all about winter. We've got a lot of winter to deal with, but we got some great pictures, and we're trying to showcase a bunch of them. This one comes to us from Ada, and no details here, so other than location, which is Lee Cross, Saskatchewan. So as the legal eagles say, res ipsa loquitur. It speaks for itself. There you go. Exactly. From law school I never went to, but I did write the LSAT. Anyhow, next picture. All right, this one comes to us from Charlotte, and this says, went for a sled ride yesterday at Sled Lake. The trails were epic, very picturesque. We have 2 feet of snow on the trails. Charlotte sent us a few pictures, but we like this one the best. So yes, I know a lot of the snowmobilers are very, very happy with the recent snowfall. And finally, from Heather, got a couple of pictures. Look at this. Look at the sign over the door. Woman Cave. Love it. Heather is up at Iroquois Lake, and she says, my home away from home. Got to make it stick out a bit. Fish on the couch outside on nice days and colder days, and fish inside. And it looks like you can have a pretty nice evening outdoors as well at night. So thank you, Heather, for sharing those images with us. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca, or you can scan the QR code, and that will give you the information to send that to us. And please remember to shoot those pictures on the horizontal axis.
Still to come on CTV News, the makeshift Zamboni. A look at the machine allowing some Canadians to keep their ice in good shape. Keeping a backyard rink in playing shape can be tough throughout the winter season, but one Quebec resident has found a solution. He built his own Zamboni from scratch, and it's become a hit with local players. CTV's Dave Charbonneau reports.
And in 2010, I decided to start doing a skating rink on the lake.
For Chris Flynn, building a rink on Long Lake in Mayo, Quebec, northeast of Gatineau, has been a labor of love for more than a decade. But keeping the ice smooth wasn't always easy. Until now.
The last year, year or two, Stefan has helped me to take it to another level.
That next level came from his neighbor, Stefan De'e, and a machine he built by hand.
What we like about it, it's the same shape as a real Zamboni.
The project started with old equipment and a lot of problem solving.
I had an old lawnmower machine, and I stopped from there.
The homemade Zamboni uses hot water, just like the real thing, making a big difference. The result? Smooth, glistening ice.
We're able to use hot water, which cures and repairs the ice better than cold water.
The machine even rolls out between periods, turning a pickup game into something straight out of an arena.
So it's everyone's true dream. In between periods, this miniature Zamboni came and did the rink.
The video of that moment has now gone viral, but for De'e, the payoff is much simpler.
It's a lot of work to maintain the rink on the lake, but every time we got people using it, it's a reward for us.
A homemade Zamboni, a backyard rink, and a neighborhood project that shows just how far Canadians will go for the love of the game. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
When we come back, the Prince Albert Raiders make some key trades, and later the donkey that could enter the record books.
All righty, time for the rural forecast for Thursday. And right now, things are looking pretty warm, or at least warmer than seasonal for a number of locations. Meadow Lake, yeah, the minus 11 is still above seasonal. Minus 13 for Lloydminster, maybe a little titch below seasonal. But minus 9s for Kindersley and Outlook. Minus 8 for Hudson Bay. Typically, Hudson Bay should be around minus 13 or minus 14 degrees. So a warm-ish day for Hudson Bay tomorrow. Mainly cloudy skies across many locations north and south of the Yellowhead. Let's make our way down south, where we don't see any plus temperatures, but it's 0 expected to be the daytime high in Maple Creek, but minus 7 in Leader and Cypress Hills and a few other places, but it does get as warm as minus 2 in Coronach. Cools off to minus 11 in Kenora, but once again, that minus 11 in Kenora is above seasonal. What about Vanscoy? Well, Vanscoy is expected to hit minus 9 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, so not too bad, and winds out of the southwest to 15, so a pretty pleasant day shaping up in Vanscoy. And that's where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Prince Albert Raiders made a massive splash on the trade front. The team acquired forward Braden Coots from the Seattle Thunderbirds, along with 2nd, 4th, and 6th round picks in exchange for Ethan Bebo, Knox Burton, Trip Fisher, Diego Gutierrez, a pair of 1st round picks, a 2nd and a 3rd rounder. Coots is a 1st round pick of the Vancouver Canucks. He's got 23 points in 17 games this season and was a member of Canada's bronze medal winning World Junior team. A defenseman with the Winnipeg Jets, Hayden Fleury, who is from Carlisle, is out of hospital recovering after being carried off the ice on a stretcher last night. Fleury was hit by Vegas Golden Knights forward Keegan Kolesar before slamming into the boards. The Jets saying today he has a broken nose, bruised back, and is being monitored for concussion-like symptoms. It appears the Saskatchewan Roughriders are set to lose one of their impact American receivers.
To make it -2 to -1. Harris gets this one away quickly to Myers, finds a little bit of space right up the middle. Now the race is on. Look at this burst. Myers will take it to the 20, all the way down to the end zone. Touchdown, Riders!
There are several reports receiver Dante Myers has signed with the NFL's Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, during his only season as a full-time starter, Myers had 1,056 yards receiving with 8 touchdowns. He added 7 catches for 116 yards in the playoffs, including a pivotal catch late in the Western Final to set up the game-winning touchdown. As you heard earlier, Washington is wasting no time taking control of the oil industry in Venezuela, and that poses a risk to Canada's industry. Morella Fernandez has more.
The U.S. now says it will control Venezuela's oil industry indefinitely. Washington also says it is importing over $2 billion worth of oil from Venezuela. The barrels of heavy crude will be refined in the U.S. The news sent the global price of oil down today, but Canadian crude has been slipping all week, with concerns that the heavy, sour crude Venezuela will export will compete with similar Canadian product. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.16. West Texas Intermediate is down to 56.32. Western Canadian Select down over $1 to 43.05. And the TSX lost 271 points today, but remains above 32,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up, building better toys brick by brick. Then the donkey that's all ears and could set a record.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Well, Lego is going high tech. The smart brick has made its debut at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. A smart brick is shaped like a regular one, but it has sensors inside. Lego says it can respond to movement with sound and lights. One smart brick can also interact with other smart bricks. Lego will release a new line of Star Wars sets that come with smart bricks. That is due to come out in March. No price tag on that.
All right, just in time for Easter. You betcha.
There you go. Yeah. All right, well, a rescue donkey south of the border will soon be a Guinness World Record holder. This is Hope the donkey, and she has exceptionally long ears, more than 40 centimeters long. That should be a record, with the previous record holder measuring around 35 centimeters. There's still some paperwork that needs to be done to make it official, but pretty soon, Hope should be holding the title. Look how excited she looks.
Yes, exactly. And I think when you say donkey, you're supposed to say donkey.
Okay, yeah. I'll know for next time.
It's a rule.
It is.
Anyhow, well, no ruling out the cold weather for at least a couple of days, but we've got ourselves some warm temperatures on the way right now. We can take a look at tomorrow, where temperatures are going to be around -11 mid-afternoon, -12 by 5 o'clock. But as we mentioned, we get through Friday, or Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday, things really start to warm up. A cold overnight Friday into Saturday, but then a warm-up begins, and boy, lots of plus temperatures right across the province. I shouldn't say right across the province, for a goodly portion of Saskatchewan, but mild for everybody nonetheless.
All right, well, enjoy it while it lasts. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.